Junji's GUI animation sheet is very similar to Flash's movie clip API. It supports frame labels, with a GUI frame event dispatched whenever a frame with a label is played, play ordering, and a frame divider for slowing down animations. A GUI animation sheet object can be created in a variety of ways. First, let's create an animation by extracting it from one or more bitmap atlases using the Assets Manager. So we'll type const anim GUI animation sheet equals new GUI animation sheet. And then our first parameter is the prefix in our sprite-sheet XML. And then our second parameter is new string, and then the name of our sprite sheet, which is animation. And you can see this in our embedded assets class right here. Next, we'll add our animation. So let's type add child anim, and let's play it. Anim.play. Take a look at that. You can see here our clock is rotating. Great. Next, we can make a GUI animation by converting an AS3 movie clip. Just make sure your movie clips are optimized both in length and size, because they can get pretty big. So const anim GUI animation sheet again equals GUI animation sheet from movie clip, and let's pretend we have a variable called MC, which is our movie clip, and it has an ID called animation, let's say. And let's just rename our variable because we have a duplicate name here. Anim from MC. Great. You also want to make sure the animation is aligned with 0, 0 in Flash. Otherwise you might lose animation information. We can also make a GUI animation by converting an FLV. So let's type const anim from FLV GUI animation sheet equals GUI animation sheet dot from FLV. And then we would type in the address where our FLV is. Just type FLV file address. And we pass through an onComplete function that will call when it's done loading. So for example, we would type function onComplete anim, and we pass through our anim from FLV variable. Be an animation sheet, and for example we would add the child. FLV conversion is async. The onComplete function will get the created GUI animation sheet as a parameter, and you can use the onProgress function for keeping track of the conversion progress. Now let's take a look at some of the commonly used API commands. To play an animation, as we've already seen, we would type anim.play. Let's go ahead and do that. And we can pass through a loop variable, which is to say that if we want our animation to loop, we would say true. We can also do anim.stop. Of course, we can pause our animation, and we can go to a specific frame and play from there. So we can type anim.goto and play, and we pass through a frame, let's say 5, and we can set our loop to false and our stop at next frame true. Showing a specific frame, we would type go to and stop. We can also listen to a GUI frame event. So we would type anim.addEventListener, GUI frame event dot frame played, and we pass through a function. Let's call it onFrame. So function onFrame, GUI frame event. So when a certain frame is played, this will call this function. And for example, we can trace the name of the frame. So frame name. Now let's move on to something a bit more advanced. Say, for example, you have several animations inside of a single animation sheet. To make life easier, we've implemented the ability for you to input a dictionary of frames that can be called instead of frame numbers. This means that if you set your loop boolean to true, it won't loop through all of the sprite sheet, only up until the next frame label. So here's an example of an animation sheet with multiple animations. We don't want it to play through all of the animation. We just want it to play through a particular section. So first, let's make our dictionary of labels. Const labels dictionary equals new dictionary. And then we'll set our first label. We'll call it idle. And it'll be our turtle's idle animation. And that will start at 1. And then we'll create another label called swim. And that will start at frame 25. Now we type const anim2, since we already have a variable called anim. And it will be a GUI animation sheet equals new GUI animation sheet. And the prefix in our sprite sheet here is turtle swim. You can see it here. So let's go ahead and type that, turtle swim. And the new string in our animation sheet is called animation2. You can see that in the embedded assets class. And let's just give it an ID, turtle anim. We'll set our frame divider to 1, which will play at normal pace, and we'll pass through our labels. Now we can go ahead and add the child. So let's type add child anim2. Let's position it to the right of our previous animation, so get bounds anim.right. And let's play it in the ordinary way, which will play through all of the turtle animation. Let's preview that first. You can see our turtle goes through its full range of animations here, but we want a specific set. So we can type, instead of just play, let's type anim2 dot go to and play, and we'll pass through our swim label, and we'll loop true, and we'll stop at next frame true. Now you can see our animation only plays through the section that we wish. And it's as easy as that. Thanks for watching.